new people coming in are always very amazed at how natural it can be when you come in. And certainly it takes practice to become, more advanced or accurate. But some people duck to a water, and they can just, on their first shot, bring someone right in with details and messages and things like that. And, you're in a good environment, you're with other students, so it's a comfortable place to go, and everything's set for you so that you can just take a risk and do it. And that's what happens. It's powerful, it's healing. I've always found it just crazy interesting no matter what. So it's fun.
It's very fun.
It's a fun time,
It's a lot of fun. It's very, very affordable. If anyone is interested in taking one of these classes, please go to Open Doors. They're such a cool place just to even hang out. And you're also an active psychic and tarot card reader there, yes?
I am. I will mention, before I get into that, on the mediumship, there is a prerequisite free 45-minute talk on mediumship. So even if you're not sure you're ready, you're just looking for something to do, you want to learn a little more about it, you have questions, there's no obligation. You come on in, sign up for it, and join that group, and then you can decide from there.
Yeah.
So it's good to get the information.
Absolutely.
And yes, I am. I am a psychic reader. Tarot cards is my number one thing that I tend to use as a tool. But I use lots of other tools too: crystal ball, tea leaves, jewelry, objects, photographs, a little bit of astrology. There's a lot of tools that a psychic can use for their art,
Yeah, definitely. So can you kind of explain some of that to some of our listeners who don't know? Like kind of the difference between like a psychic versus a medium versus a clairvoyant versus an empath, because that kind of keeps coming up on this show. So you're the expert, so you can give us a definitive answer.
It's a good question, Amelia, because a lot of people have the same question. They don't completely really understand the difference and think it's all one in the same. A medium is someone who can communicate with a person that has died, or a pet. We do pets too. That's a fun time also.
That sounds fun.
A psychic is someone. It has such an umbrella definition. A psychic is usually thought of as someone who reads the cards. It can also be teachers and healers. I believe a newer term for it would be a light worker sometimes. And it's just using, your intuition, your psychic senses. Some people call them spidey senses.
That's funny because that's what I call them.
and learning how to recognize it and use it for whatever purpose they want to use it for. Everyone has experienced something really strange in their life that does not seem to have, a logical explanation.
Yes.
Someday perhaps it will have a logical explanation. They'll look back on us 500 years from now and laugh. But to me, there's just so much more to it. How does this come about? Don't know entirely, other than, does it come from a universal energy force, God, something within us? All I know is that it works. When you trust your intuition and you know how to recognize it and you know how to use it, it works. So psychics are generally readers. For the sake of this conversation, I'll go in that direction. That's what most people do with it. And fortune telling is the old term for it. And a lot of fortune tellers, they'll talk about your past a little bit, your present, and the future. And it's evolved a bit into more of a guidance thing, as well as coming up with names, dates, things of that nature. And some readers do not actually fortune tell. They use it more as a coaching, a tool for insight and guidance. So it's good questions to ask your reader what type of a reader that they are. There are so many different decks out there now. There's tarot cards, oracle cards, playing cards, old fortune-telling cards, and they all serve a slightly different, purpose. And each reader is individual and unique and different too. So it's a good question to ask. Don't be afraid to ask questions.
Yeah, definitely. And before I forget, what are your thoughts on, I have a few different ones I want to talk about, but the first is Ouija boards. How do you feel about that?
I must say I'm not a fan. Back when I was actually a teenager, which was a while ago, and Ouija boards were a common parlor game. People got them for gifts, and you'd get your friends around, and you'd giggle and laugh and move the slider around, and the thing would move seemingly on its own. And as I've gotten a bit older, I look back, and I have to say it can be dangerous. You're really opening up portals and doors to things that we don't understand, and it's not a game, and so it's still used, and but I don't like them. Bottom line, I don't find them to be something to play with.
I totally agree, and I know Beth does too, because her and I talk about this all the time. They scare the bejesus out of me. I always tell everyone, do not use it unless you absolutely know and have been trained for years in how to use it.
Exactly.
It's like you said, it's not a game. No,
it's not. And if you're going to come into, it's interesting because once you step into anything psychic, and a lot of my clients and students are people who are involved in healing arts, and they're people persons, and they're medical people and hairdressers and people who are close to other people in their work. And once they step into any field, whether it's Reiki or hands-on healing or card reading or anything like that, it just opens up a whole energy from within. You can feel it.
Yes,
and suddenly
definitely.
the law of attraction kicks in, and you're meeting all these people. You're standing in line at the market, and the person in front of you is talking about, something you just talked about, and you're standing there looking at them thinking, what just happened?
Yes.
So it really opens up, and you begin to want to learn and know about things. So it's good to explore. I say, try a bite of everything.
Yes.
See what your favorite flavor is, and start, learning about that. Get yourself a good teacher. There are just sadly a lot of people out there who are not in it for the best of reasons. I'm a fan of the internet, but I'm also extremely cautious of it.
Yes.
So just make sure if you're going to do that, go in that direction. It's the internet. You can't believe everything that's written. So find yourself a good teacher, get some good practice, and learn to protect yourself, because that's really, really important. An analogy I use a lot is skiing. The first thing you learn when you're going to learn to ski is you learn how to fall properly. So
yes. Yep.
when you fall, you don't get hurt. Same thing with mediumship or stepping into the psychic world. Learn how to protect yourself. Learn how to fall. And once you do that, your confidence will be up. Your eyes are a lot more open. And if you've got good guidance and you're willing to practice and do the work and take the time, it's an incredible journey. It becomes very spiritual, actually. So.
Yeah. No, I totally agree. I mean, it's such a, even on my own kind of spiritual path, I mean, so much has opened, so much of my life has changed, and I've learned so many lessons. Not all of them were pleasant to learn, but they were definitely all very necessary. And, I learned it by kind of diving into this rabbit hole.
Right.
Okay, so if you're interested, would you like to give our listeners, just kind of show them what you do as far as a psychic reading goes, maybe answer a few questions? Okay, cool.
I would love to. Using some cards. Amelia, this is all about your love life.
Oh, no.
Well, you asked. Don't blame me. What's interesting is it's showing your passing through a phase in your lifetime where you're letting go of one, let's call it your type, your old type of relationships, the types you've been attracted to, interested in, and that is turning and changing. And you're learning to walk away from it, because I believe consciously you're ready for a change, you know this, but at the same time it's a hard thing to break through.
Yes, that's very true.
So you are going to be tested at least a couple more times.
Oh, no.
All right?
Oh, no.
I'm sorry. And they're nice guys, but you're going to know right away, like after speaking with them for 5 minutes, you're going to know. And they're going to want your phone number. They're going to want to, chat and talk. And if you say yes, you're just going to repeat your lesson until you learn to say no. And once you say no, that's when I see things really changing. It's going to be a quiet interlude between the two where you have time to just reflect. And you're focusing on some of it's work that you're focusing on, but interestingly, you actually decide to turn away from some opportunities that you don't quite feel ready for yet, particularly ones that involve travel. But that's okay. It's not off the board. You just know it's something you can go back to. It also indicates you're going to take up something internally spiritual. Sometimes that's going back to church or taking some yoga classes or meditating in the forest. But it's very self-focused, as well as connecting with, the universe kind of a thing. I realize I'm going out there a little, but that's what your cards do say. It also indicates you will finally be able to let go of some relationship here that just won't, it's gum on your shoe. It won't let go. And you're going to just take off the shoes and keep going.
Nice. Well, that's great. And it does make a lot of sense because in my personal life, I have been very consciously leaving situations that I'm like, this is exactly what I just did 6 months ago and I got to get out of here. And also, it's very interesting you say what you said about a spiritual path, things like that, because I am actually looking right now into purchasing a very, 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 very small, like 1/4 acre plot of land in the woods.
Wow.
Specifically, very, very specifically to work on this kind of meditation thing I've been going on and building some stuff.
Meditating in the woods. There you go.
Yes, meditating in the forest. And that literally, before I got on the phone with you, I was on the phone with a real estate broker about that very thing.
You're going to get that, Amelia.
Good. Well, that's great.
I can tell you a little bit about it. It looks like there's a piece of there's water on the property, a little river that runs, something like that. There's some motion of water on there somewhere. And the price is actually pretty good from what I can see. And you're going to, if this is like a totally wooded lot, you're going to clear it because I see you're going to, it has to do with the sun, with, rising in the east, setting in the west. So because the sun card came out, and I'm reading that as a clearing because it's illumination. So you're going to want to have a certain part of the property, north, south, east, west, whatever. You're going to want to have that particularly illuminated, and you're going to love it. It's going to remind you of your childhood.
Nice. Well, that's awesome. Wow.
Yep. You're going to have flowers, and you're going to have little critters running around, and it just looks beautiful.
That's exactly what I want. That's what I need. I can't believe you picked up on that. When you said that, like spiritual, like meditating in the forest, like my jaw over here totally dropped. I was like, I don't know how she just got that. But that's incredible. Okay, so if people, and that was so amazing. So if people want to get in touch with you as a psychic, they can always call Open Doors in Braintree. They can go online to opendoors7.com. That's Open Doors with the number 7.com. And I believe they just made something where you can schedule on there. And then can you tell people when your mediumship classes are?
The mediumship classes are held currently once a month through the summer. They may pick up again. They were twice a month. But right now they're once a month. And the free circle runs just prior to the class from 5:15 to, from 5:30 to 6:15. And then the circle runs from 6:30 to 8:30. Wow,
that's awesome. Well, thank you so much for doing this. I really appreciate it. That was so enlightening.
Thank you, Amelia. That was a fast hour. Thank you very much.
Yeah, that was incredible. Yeah, thank you. And I hope you have a really great night.
Thank you. You too. And let me know about your property. I'd be curious. I never get to know the ending of my story.
I will. I'll come down. I'll tell you. I'm actually down at Open Doors quite a bit myself, just bumming around, hanging out with Mickey. Like,
Oh, yeah. Okay. Shout out to Mickey. Okay.
Hey, Mickey. All right.